Okay. So very good afternoon to one and all present here. Uh, so we are having today the soapbox scheduled for Priyanka Talwar, who is contesting for the General Secretary Academic Affairs for 25-26. And we are having with us the Insight team who will be helping us, to have an insightful discussion on the soapbox. We are having the panelists. We are having Utkarsh Godwal, the General Secretary Academic Affairs, the General Secretary Sports Affairs for 24-25. We are having Vishnu. We are having Priyanshi. We are having Janvi. So 4 people constitute a panel. I am Kunal Sharma, the current General Secretary Academic Affairs PG, the moderator for the today's soapbox. So let's get started with the first thing. So Priyanka, can you please introduce yourself and please have the opening statement.
Hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Election Commission for having me here and Insight team for giving me this opportunity. So I am Priyanka Talwar. I am contesting for General Secretary Academic Affairs PG 25-26. I am a research scholar, second year research scholar, working with a blend of computer vision and human sensing. I served Institute as an overall coordinator for Institute Research Scholar Companion Program for 24-25 and manager at Institute Innovation Council, IIT Bombay for 24-25. And from the last 2 years, I am the finance manager at Hull Price, IIT Bombay, and also the finance manager for Mumbai Summit, International Summit for the Hull Prize. So if I get elected, I will be focusing on improving the academics and also raise awareness about the postgraduate academic program, that is PG CAM, where it's Postgraduate Council for Academics and Mentoring programs. Also, I would be the voice for the student as being the PG representative to just have the things on the pace and get the things sorted. Thank you.
So we now move to the part 2, which is the manifesto debate. So all the panelists are requested to have questions asked to the candidates so that we can have more and more insightful debate on the manifesto. So
yeah, Priyanka, I have one question for you. So point number 7, which is aim to introduce monthly departmental hostel PG oriented events to strengthen bonds and future alumni connections. So what are your ideas for it, and what are you going to do in this particular event?
So to introduce monthly, so if I talk about, there's properly majorly in CS department, there's one meet every month for all the PhD especially, where everybody meet for the small party, they meet and greet all together, right? So it is just for CSE but not institute wide, there's 31 academic units. So, and it has been proposed to the HODs and different academic units, as well as the director has agreed to this. So just I have to push on to every institute, every academic unit to have it on running. So being a while I was serving as IRCP overall coordinator. So we have asked our department coordinators to just ask for the things, and they have got the permission and just have to be in place.
So it will be like a gathering, right?
Yeah, it would be a gathering, and then moving further, people will meet, and then they would have a small party. Let's call it a simple chai party or.
And what
small
about
event.
technical discussions and all? So PhD scholars, right? And
Yeah, so
So-
for PhD scholars, I have another point. Like I would have improved culture for the research presentation, which is point number 10. In the institute, like we can have the colloquium thing, that where the research scholars can have the presentations, and it would be bi-weekly or monthly or whoever wants to present. So it would like since I would be working with the PG camp, so we have the auras, we have the DCs for DCs for PhDs and DCs for masters, and the SCs for masters. So there would be a good team of 5-7 people who can just collaborate together as one team, and along with the PhD rep, masters rep, and the DGSEC of that department or academic unit can work together, and then can have this presentation thing as a research work also done, and to have the good well-being of the student, like getting relaxed, this point of meeting and getting.
can't we add like some sort of a presentation or a poster presentation along with this? Then who is going to fund it, right? I mean,
So as per my knowledge,
the parties and all, maybe some high tea or something, right? So
Yeah.
who is going to fund it?
so the department is going to fund it. So as per my knowledge, director has approved to all the HODs or the conveners of the academic units, so that they can just have this in progress. Like they can fund, department will get the fund.
So the HODs have allowed it, or like you had groundwork with them, right?
So my department coordinators went to, and they are in favor. So
But
just
what about the other academic units?
gradually it will be implemented in all. So that is why it's ongoing process.
Okay, thanks.
Hello Priyanka, Vishnu here. So as a follow-up on Utkarsh's question, you also mentioned that it's monthly hostel PG oriented events too. Wouldn't that come under hostel, the vertical of hostel affairs? And have you talked to any hostel affairs people who could help you on not only?
Yeah, hi Vishnu. So for hostel thing, I have included. So yeah, for the different hostel secretaries I talked. So they are like you guys have like the hostels has their hostel days or some gala dinners or that time. Simple DJs and people are just involved in themselves. So I like my team with the hostel secretaries can collaborate and the council can collaborate so that they can have fun events, and then people are more included while not having just food, and then they can have some fun activities along with it so that they are being relaxed along with the food, not just coming and eating and going. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, when you say gala dinner and all, there's actually a time constraint. So when we come to 12, 13 and 14, they host it together at times because due to lack of time. So have you considered that also into the spectrum?
So as per our knowledge, sometimes 12, 13, 14 have their combined gala dinner, and sometimes they have their own. So there in 12, 13, 14, like, there would be 3 councils. The 3 councils would have we have a good number of people who can work together, and then they can have. And secondly, if they have the individual, then they will cater their crowd, and then they can have the events, and also they can have more into the jamming, followed with the jamming session also. Thank you.
Hi Priyanka, Priyankshi here. My question is from your point 17. You've mentioned that you want to push for regular alumni interactions that enhance networking and placement and internship opportunities at department level. I believe SARC and the institute placement team, they are already working on such initiatives. What value do you think, PGSE and your initiatives can add? Do you have any ideas that you want to talk about?
Hi Priyanshi. Yeah, thank you for your question. So for the alumni meet, I agree that we have sat and we have the placement team who are working with alumni interaction and so. But in my past tenure as well as my journey at IIT Bombay, so it was not that much frequent where the alums are here, like or meeting in person or online. So my initiative or my team's initiative as a PG camp would be to first we will collaborate with SAC and placement team while working with the alums, yeah. And secondly, we can have the department council along with the auras, DCs and SCs, and then work with the office where they have the alums data, and then we can just have like, connect with the alums or the recent past 1 year, 2 year, and so on, which are just in progress of their career. So we can have and then follow up. Like let's say example, like we have from your department, Sitara, we have Sailesh. So he's a good boon to us, not only to Sitara but to IIT Bombay. Like he is guiding all over the institute. So yeah, he just finds out next year. So something similar we can have more at a larger scale, every department. And some alums cannot come in person. We can have online meets regularly, monthly or whatever the time suits for them. And here people won't need to come to gather to a place. They can be at their ease and then they can attend that meet. And learning can be at any time. Thank you.
Hi Priyanka, Janvi this side. I have a question for you from your point number 10. So I just wanted to know that what initiatives that you are planning to improve culture of research presentations in the department, and how will you increase the student participation in that?
Hi Janvi. So for improving the research culture in the form of presentation, so I would start with again the council would come into picture where they will have a DGSEC will help with my PG Camp Council that they will introduce as a research presentation for each academic unit, maybe weekly, bi-weekly, as per. So many, like during my grant work, it was said that many people will not show what they are working, so they can show their published work or what they have done in past. Or the senior PhDs can just start with it, followed with the masters also. And how to have more of things. So if I talk about my department, so in my department there is a research faculty research presentations. Similarly, we can have for students. Yeah. So similarly we can have for the senior PhDs or the masters or the PhD guy who wants to present their work can just present their work, the past work. It's up to them. And it will be like the willingness of the students to have the faculties included or not. It's just their choice. That academic unit has their own control along with the council of the PG camp and the council of that academic unit. I hope I answered your question. Okay, thank you.
Do we have more questions?
Hi Priyanka. Coming to your point number 14, where you've mentioned that you want to push for summer courses for PG community. Students do tend to have lab and TA duties, and also there is some kind of resistance from some departments as well regarding the summer courses. So, one, how are you planning to go ahead with the initiative? Second, how are you going to convince the departments that might show resistance towards summer courses?
So, your first question was how? I'm sorry.
How are you going to go about your initiative? Because students do tend to have a lot of duties even during summer break. And how are you going to convince the departments?
So if I talk about the duties and stuff, so It's for the summer courses, and summer courses generally run May, June, July. So there would be no coursework, no TA duty, and there would be no academic load, I would say, for the PG community. The second thing, the idea behind running the summer course was to have to cater those students who got FR in some courses like we have for UGs. We have the summer courses for UG undergraduates. We can similarly have for the PG community so that they can have their FR or being revoked from some other courses, as well as how to convince. So this thing is, I would say, in picture but not completely, because for a course to run, minimum 5 students are required, right? But generally PG, for a particular course, they tend to lose at the count of 5. So we can have a more awareness to the PG community so that they can come up and maybe the strength can increase. And I don't think so the academic units would have issues with the same, or putting up the things for the summer courses. It's the faculty dependent courses. Thank you.
Actually, in some departments, students do tend to get lab duties during summer break, as well as, for example, for our research center also, we have a field visit, and we have 2 months field research that we have to conduct. So for such departments where it is compulsory for students to get engaged in some sort of research project, how are you trying to rope them in for such summer courses?
So these summer courses would be optional, number one. Number two, these are generally for the people who are getting FRs. It is not that everybody has to go for that course. It's just to get your FR revoked by some other course. So it would be better for getting debarred or some termination from the course or the degree program. So it's just helping them to just have giving a just strive hard work and then go for it.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you.
Priyanka, I have a question for point number 28, where you are proposing to access lab facility for research during summer breaks. So it is for PGs or UGs? Because for PGs, I don't think there is any restriction for summers, winters or something like that. I mean, it's completely open throughout the year. So what exactly your point is? Is it for UGs or for PGs? I mean,
It is for PGs, specifically the masters who come in the first year in winters and in summer breaks. Generally they are asked. So if I talk about MSc guys, for winters and summers, both of the semester breaks, they are asked to go to their home. And then if somebody wants to pursue some research work in future also and go with the good in their MScs, so they are not allowed, right? They have to take permission, and then on case to case basis, it's based on that faculty who allows, but not everybody gets a chance. Many of them wants, and some people are not even maybe there might be a case where the professor is not willing, or so I can push for having both side handshake, the students and the professors. One thing, and the second thing, for the masters, they have to start their MTP from the summer breaks after their second semester, and they are just not aware in which lab they have to work or how the things are working in their academic unit. So in winters they can have a glimpse, and then they can move forward and take a better decision, so that they can work in summers with their desired or whatever they get.
so according to me, I don't think there is any lab or maybe any professor who will not allow any student to come up in the lab. And it all depends on the PhD students who are there. And your second point is like MTP. So I think for MTP, they choose some professor, right? They have to choose a guide, right? Supervisor. So if they are choosing the supervisor, they don't need any permissions or something like that, right? So to access the lab, or maybe if they want to do research, even if it's a UG student, I have not seen any lab, central facility in CEF and the mechanical department, according to my knowledge. There is no professor who is, resisting any student to use the lab. it's all open to like everyone in the, I think in the institute. So what exactly this point makes sense?
Yeah, so no faculty doesn't allow, yeah, I understand, but while selecting a guide or a professor, how would a person know what's working on? So he or she can go during these summer breaks or the winter breaks to
So
just.
even if they have not been allotted, or maybe they have not selected any supervisor, they can come up in any lab. I don't think any professor would mind to use their lab in IIT Bombay. This is what I believe. But have you done any which department is facing this problem? I mean, if to be like very, so have you done any
So
groundwork
if you talk
regarding-
about masters are not even allowed to stay on campus, right? And MSc.
So in that case, you need to check with the HCUs and the AD and SA to check whether they will be allowed, because in off semester season, so they have intra-AT and they have Mood Indigo and stuff during December, and in summers,
admission process.
so have you done any groundworks with them whether
So-
they are going to allow thousands of master students?
So it's not thousands of master students. Everybody doesn't want to go into research work. So there would be a handful of numbers, and then for that I can push for it. And since I figured out that some people were asked to pay for the extra accommodation fee, so that could be to have, when it is allowed. So then that person can be officially on campus, right? And
Again, one more
Yeah.
point. So even a UG student, if he sends out a letter that he wants to do an internship or maybe slash some research work with the professor during the summer breaks, they get extension, they get rooms and all. So this process is still there. So what new you are doing? Even for master student, if they are getting permission from the supervisor or maybe any professor that he or she is going to work in their lab, so they get the permission to stay back in campus and work in lab facilities. So what new it is? What your point is? Is it making sense? Because it's still there, right?
so it's still there. I agree with your point, but not every time it happens. Some people do face issues during this. If they wish, and maybe they are not having they are not aware of the proper channel, and maybe I would not say from any faculty, but yeah, the people are just hoping that, oh, can I go or not? So that is a push basically for the students and making them aware for the access of lab facilities.
Okay, thanks.
Hi Priyanka. So on your point 26, follow up on APS form restructuring. Can you just elaborate that point?
Okay, so follow up on APS form restructuring. It is a simple why you might for the PhDs when they go for the annual progress seminar and a form has to be filled. It's just how the work is and the comments. Satisfactory, dissatisfactory, average, good. So rather than just having 2 points as a comment and just to have more bifurcation so that a person or a student, I would say, had a good clear idea what improvements he or she needs to make. So we can have something like how was the presentation skill, how was the literature survey, how was the results, how was the experiments, and what things has to be done. So you can have more of qualitative and quantitative effect or in the form, so that a student gets to know where the improvement lies. And sometimes it happens, maybe the work is up to the mark and gets a bad comment, and sometimes for making the student more motivated, gets a good comment, and later on he or she faces issues. So from this more of having the detailed version of the APS form, the student can get to know the things better.
Wouldn't they get to know that from the presentation itself during the APS presentation? would such a wouldn't making the form more detailed make it more redundant since they'll be getting the same comments also?
They get the comments. I agree with your point, but when they're putting it in the formally, then it is accountable. Verbal things are not accountable at any organization. I would say at IIT Bombay also. So when we have something in written or something on portal, we can have a proof of it. That in future.
So that's essentially making the PhD students more accountable for their work, which they will anyway be accountable since the professors will be there, right?
But not for every case, if I say. There are many cases where they have an ample good amount of work, but it is not shown, and sometimes in the initial years, I again say, for the motivation, boosting the motivation, so the students are not given that real comments.
Thank you. Also, just one more small question. On point number 20, when you said push for department website updation, wouldn't that fall under the department council's responsibility?
That would come in the department council responsibility, but department council is like not most of them are getting. So we as a PG representative of the institute can work together in collaboration. So it is not like PG camp is only working for the institute. We collaborate with all the bodies and have one and then work together for everything which can boost up the things for the institute.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much for the questions so far. Now, we'll be going for the part 3. So, it will be like a topic debate wherein the candidate will be asked to pick up one sheet from out of these 4 sheets that I have prepared, and all 4 sheets are having the topics. So, the candidate will choose one depending on the luck, and we'll be having a sheer discussion among the candidate and the panelists. So.
But it was mentioned that I would be knowing the topics beforehand and then I have to randomly pick one in the guidelines.
Yeah, the topic are from her manifesto only, so she knows everything.
Okay, thank you.
The topic says current takeovers from the previous tenures. The topic says that what are some kind of essential activities which have been started in the previous tenures, which are kind of mandatory to be continued in this tenures, which are not mentioned in the manifesto. Yeah. So over to you, Priyanka, and over to you, panel.
So if I talk about the current tenure, which I will be carrying forward, if it is not completed or it's ongoing or it's about to complete in the next tenure, the first would be the 2 major policies which are going to Senate this time, and that is additional master's degree for the direct PhD students who can come after the bachelor's degree. And the second is MSc exit degree. Hopefully it gets these two gets accepted in the Senate, and yeah, my work would be a bit less for this policy, but yeah, then after for the MSc exit specifically, for the other master's program where the exit after 1 year of their completion is not existing, I can push for them if those academic units are willing to offer those exit degree. Secondly, in the previous tenure, it was the specialization for the PhDs. We can go for the minors for PhDs and having the bucket list for the minors for masters being approved for each academic unit. The Amicus is offering. Let's have it for the other academic units also. More is we have the TA certificates accepted, which was proposed by the current General Secretary Academic Affairs 24-25, and we need to just have it pushed to each academic unit so that they can offer it to every student from the start of their tenure, from all the TA duties which they have done till date. All the current. And so for the RESEX, yeah. the one of the major and the most important which we need to work on is the RESX portal, where the RESX portal the survey has been floated, it is being collected, and it has to be a continuous process. It is not for the one tenure, it would be a continuous for my tenure if I get elected, and for the future tenures whoever would be there. And having the student acceleration program which got started from the last month, and it has to be for the students how we have it in the UG community, we will have it in the PG community also, the same thing, where the softwares or the hardwares or the equipments training would be given, and people who are willing, it would be institute wide, it would not just restrict for the PG community. We will open our SAP program, student acceleration program, for the UGs and the PGs, all the students at IIT Bombay. Also, we found out that there are many journals, newsletters, and conferences, proceedings which IIT Bombay doesn't have an access. I understand that library gives access and or get it to us for get it for the student. But yeah, when other institutes have, why not we have it until we have that one Ek Bharat or Ek subscription concept. Right. Then I would have more for the APS form restructuring. We have proposed it to Dean AP, and the follow-up has to be done and from the students, from the faculty, and then collaborating with the ASC and finding the feasibility and coming into a common ground. So this would be one of the point which I would like to carry forward on it. Yeah, and integration of the rule books and the formal documents are ongoing to be incorporated in the InstaGPT. So if not implemented, this point is not implemented, so I will go forward with having it on the InstaGPT. The students can just have their questions and answers getting from the InstaGPT. Yeah. Thank you.
So Priyanka, you mentioned the student acceleration program which you're going to continue, right?
Yeah.
So, do you have any plans how you will add on to that stuff which is still going? So, what are the additional points which you'll be adding in your tenure?
So, in this tenure, it started with the software learning, or basically software learning or some program learning. I would add for the hardware, the equipment, the central facilities. Also the lab equipment for those academic units where they can have a common, let's say in Department of Energy Science, we have an equipment which can be used by environmental sciences or mechanical or metallurgy. So people can, students from those academic units also can collaborate and then can have a training with the permission from the PI and that lab TA, that equipment TA. We can work together, they can work together and then have more of teaching and learning.
Priyanka, so I wanted to ask you about RESX. What are the current problems that the team is facing to implement RESX, and how are you planning to overcome those and bring it into life initially?
So if I talk about the RESX, one of the major issues which the team is facing, people are not filling that survey form. So I have to make people aware by multiple reminders. So here I can collaborate with the departmental secretaries, and let's say we have the PG hostel secretaries also, so that they can just share this message, because on WhatsApp people generally tend to see their messages where they skip their mails. Also, having the use of social media, we can have something put on like a poster or some information where we can put, so that the people at least fill the survey form, so that we have a bank like what student is doing research in which domain, and this can have more. and this will accelerate more of the student acceleration program. We can come to know which student is working with which software or hardware and have more of. Maybe we can ask that if he or she is willing to have a session with us.
Okay, and suppose once you get all the answers that you have been asking for from the students, what are the steps that you are planning afterwards?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we will get to know what are their research areas, on what softwares and what hardwares they are aware about. The next is the contacting them, requesting them if they can take a session. If they're willing to take a session, and yeah, students are ready to learn, we can have both-way collaboration. So that person will get it because that thing is being from the project. The fund is from the project, right? This thing is still in a discussion with the deans and the director. Hopefully, we can get some more better idea or more better conclusion how things can be done in worst cases. It would be a case-to-case scenario, but not a common case. So that is why I did not include, since it's already in running progress. Already.
Yeah, you have wrote in point number 12, follow up and continuation documentation of available fellowship or scholarship for PGs. So my question is, why has it take so long to do a compilation of all those documents, and how you will going to integrate this through the ACGPT or through you are doing a portal where people can get all the information? What is your plan?
Yeah. So if I talk about the fellowships or scholarships for the PG community, it's not that it runs everywhere. Suppose it's a fellowship or a scholarship runs for 5 years or 2 years. After that expiration, we have to remove it. So putting on the portal, let's say on the PGAC website, IRSCP website, ISCP website, let's say a PG camp website. Also on the social media, we can spread awareness by making a small posters and putting on it. And the documentation is still in progress. The current PG camp team is doing on it. They are putting on it. Since we get the emails for different scholarships and fellowships that have been into place, we thought that sometimes mails are skipped. Why not to have it on at one place and put it on the portal?
This was a point in the previous tenure as well. So why has it taken so long to put the documentation up on the website? We could have done it as in when we have it on hand, right?
Okay, so this is not for a one tenure task. It is a continuous tenure task, since fellowships, as I mentioned, fellowships and scholarships comes for a particular duration, and every time it needs to be updated. The team is working on it, and then they will be incorporating it soon.
Okay, then there is a 11 number question.
So for this point, can this process be automated, or every GS has to do it manually at the start of the tenure?
It would not be the start of the tenure, it would be gradually whenever there is notification for a fellowship or a scholarship. It has to be updated because it comes from ACR or IR, right, or sometimes from EO, Education Outreach, or like we have IOEs, or sometimes IOE funds are also there. Sometimes from different fundings are there, right? So we have to collaborate with all of the bodies, and then it would be a continuous thing. It cannot be automated like one thing is coming, so it gets renewed.
There are certain scholarships which are static, like which IIT Bombay offers, or general things which can be documented easily.
Yeah.
That we can put in the website, or then
Yeah.
another things may add up or subtract if it is properly. So why it is not still done?
So, like as I told, the team is working on it, and it will be incorporated soon.
Okay, then 11 number I am asking, push for the introduction of IIT Bombay chapters at major conferences and journals for exposure or opportunity. My question is on the major conferences part. Like, what is your plan of action? Like, how you want to better implement this, and who will collaborate to make it success?
So, since the survey form has been floated, again we have General Secretary Academic Affairs, PG has took the survey form for having a one consolidated thing. So where we have also asked for the major conferences and journals for which they want IIT Bombay chapter. In my department, we have IEEE GRSS INGAR, that is for Indian Geospatial and Remote Sensing. So that has a IIT Bombay chapter. Maybe more of IEEE or other major conferences or journals have their chapters, but not every domain has. So here it would be clustering thing. Like clusters would be made from the academic units, and the major conferences or the journals, IIT Bombay chapters would be there. How it would be incorporated, we would have to work with the students as well as the faculty, because for the IIT Bombay chapter, there would be a student ambassador, I understand, but there should be a faculty ambassador or the faculty representative of that institution, the organization. So we work with them and then we can have this initiative, Saran Graduate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Insight. Now the forum is now open for the question and answers from the public. We'll now be waiting for around 10 to 20 seconds.
Can I ask a question as public? Can I ask a question as public? I have certain questions that remain to
Okay, if you are not having any further questions, this marks the end of the session for today. So thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you so much, panelists. We are having Utkarsh, Vishnu, we are having Priyanshi, we are having Janvi for their precious time and having insightful questions have been asked in the soapbox. Hopefully, this soapbox has been some kind of thoughtful discussion that we have been through. So this was all about Priyanka Talwar. You may please proceed with your closing statement. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kumar. So, I, Priyanka Talwar, contesting for General Secretary Academic Affairs. Just, if elected, I will focus on improving the academic experience for the student PG community. I envision for the holistic learning, where every student will get the opportunities, resources, and support so that they can excel in their academics. Also, maintaining their well-being and just working. Being the voice of the PG community, I will help them be easily accessible to them. Also, I aim with the unwavering commitment and shared vision, we stand together to make the whole. So, I would like all of your support so that we can work together and just have the winning streak for this. As I see myself capable enough from my past experience and have that change the thing for the PG community. For the upliftment of the PG community, I can work together, like we can work together and have the things done and just have for the upliftment and empowerment of the PG community. Thank you.
Once again, thank you. Thank you so much, audience. Thank you so much, Insight especially. Thank you so much, Priyanka, and thank you so much, panelists. This marks the end of the session. This is Kunal Sharma, General Secretary, Academic Affairs 24-25, the moderator for the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you everybody for being here.